Okay, welcome back. We are making a catch can today. Made up a paper template. Looks like a shoebox. Okay, we're cutting out some of this 18 gauge aluminum. You know, it's easy to cut out, but when it comes time to weld this stuff, it is a pain. It just not the easiest thing to weld, but it's gonna be light. It's super thin, you know, it's gonna be lightweight. And I have it offhand. I don't have to go buy anything. So yeah, we're cutting it out and then we're gonna tape it into kind of a rough shape, but this thing's gonna be fitting like a Swiss glove by the time we're done working it. You know, it's gonna take some time, but you know, we're gonna get it. Okay, when you make something out of paper and you transfer it to stiff metal, it doesn't always translate the best. So that's all right, we're just working with it. So this thing's an English wheel. When I first got it, never realized how much I would use it, but it seems like it gets pulled out quite a bit. I mean, it takes up a lot of space in the garage, but yeah. English wheel, not an English muffin. I gotta cut those out, make the car even lighter. There's two ways of doing things, the right way and the fast way. In this case, I took the fast way, but kind of bit me in the end and ended up taking longer. So I tried to save some time by making, you know, not making it fit up perfectly. You know, I figured I can kind of move this stuff around and tack it in place. But yeah, it ended up taking longer. It was kind of a pain trying to get this stuff together, and it's such a weird shape. Like, this thing doesn't have many right angles on it to actually clamp it in place. I had to get a little creative with the clamps. I think I even taped one of the clamps in place. But with persistence, anything's possible. But yeah, did I mention how much I hate welding this 18 gauge aluminum? Whose idea was it to pick this material? I mean, it's gonna be light, but man, this stuff is not fun to weld. I want to go back to welding stainless. So I always wondered why these guys have two big 10AN lines coming off the valve cover. It seemed excessive, but I guess in a turbo car there's so much blow-by that it will stop the turbo from draining properly because that pressure is pushing up on the oil coming out the turbo. So once I learned that, it kind of clicked, and here we are making this thing. Okay guys, we have our little box. We have the base of it created. Now we got to work on the lid. Well, I already made it. This is what we're working with. So if you see on like normal catch can, there's a little filter that lets the air out. So keeps the oil vapors in, hopefully catches any vapor and lets the air out. I have this piece of filter media that I cut off my pit bike, and we're gonna make a cutout on the lid, make a little shelf that'll capture it in place, and then Add some baffling to help keep the oil from sloshing up onto it. Let me show you what we're working with. Okay, so here's our box. Here's our lid, here's our filter. You know, this was round. I cut it out. So we're gonna cut a hole here, and then this is gonna sit on the inside, captured by a lip. And then in here, I think I'm gonna put up a plate, a baffle plate, and then our two plugs on this side of the plate, so the vapor has to travel down and up. I might put some mesh or perforated something in there. But yeah, that's the idea. We're gonna use some of this in there like that, and you know, it'll be recessed. So we gotta cut this out, make a shelf, mount this, weld this, cut that. Okay, that was Stanley Steamer. Fairly easy, came out nice. Now, couple ideas. I might put a couple little bead rolls in this, make it extra fancy. Okay, I laid out a box. I think I'm gonna try and put a stepped lip in this thing. Hopefully I don't screw it up. But we gotta put some corners, because I can't put a step in a straight. All right, let's ruin this panel. Final words. Okay, I made a practice piece. If I can do this and not screw it up, I will try it on the piece. Shouldn't have spent so much time cutting the hole out and making it fit perfectly. We're gonna try bead rolling. I have some dies coming in, some better step dies, but I can't wait. I want to use this thing. That is, it bit hard on the edges. So 2 turns is too many, maybe 1 turn. That came out super bad. Way off my mark. One more. I'm gonna do it one more time. Okay, that one came out worse. I looked down at the die a little bit differently. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not good at coloring in the lines. I missed the lines. They're completely off. But it's a little cleaner. The start and the stop's a little better. One more time. If I don't get this one, I'm not doing it. Well, that one's better. Look at that. I hit my lines. I ran out of square pieces, so we're on to triangles. I'm gonna screw this up, but I'm gonna try it. We got 3 examples Second is not the best. First is the worst. Third is the one with a hairy chest. So we're gonna do it. Wish me luck. I think I'm gonna screw it up, but hopefully not. I think I screwed it up. Oh, that's nice. That's pretty nice. Wow. Caught the edge a little bit. Okay, caught the edge. That's the downside of these cheap step dies. They catch the edge. Couldn't wait for the new dies, but we'll sand that out. It'll be fine. But man, look at that. I made it halfway decent. So proud of myself. Okay, turn that off. We hand sanded a little bit. My marks didn't come out. It's all right. It's not the best. I made up these pieces. What are these pieces, you may ask? Well, this is what's going to hold the filter in place. So these are going to get welded onto the backside like that, creating a little lip. I even thought about the end user. Added a little break. I think that'll make it a little easier to try and feed it. Like, I'm gonna have to shove this in here because this is all gonna be welded. So I'm gonna have to shove the filter up in here and like try and get it in there. If I try to, if I ever want to clean the filter, I have to pull it out. I also have to put it in after I weld it. So yeah, I guess we'll tack this in place and see if I can get the filter actually in place. It's probably a smart idea. So let's do that. It looks like a window to a jail. I don't know. So I added them little pieces of filler rod to help it so it doesn't fall in there. If this filter falls in there, I'm gonna have to put my hand in there and try and get it out. This is our only entrance once we weld this thing closed. But I'm happy with that. Like, came out pretty good. So, as far as baffling goes, something like that, but it comes a little deeper. So if the car ever like tipped over, it would pool, hopefully most of it would pool on this side, and it would trap it in there'd be a little compartment right here where everything would get trapped. Not that I would ever need that, but yeah, I am pleased with that. Okay, that's what I'm thinking for a baffle. So it'll let fluid and air, it'll let it go underneath. But once this thing fills up to that level, it's gonna start percolating. Like, yeah, it's gonna start making bubbles. I might drill a couple small holes to kind of stop that from happening. Maybe a couple bigger holes up in this area. But that's the idea. So we got that, and then we have our lid. Lid goes on there like so. But yeah. It's a new day, cold like a horse, hard on Christmas, but we got the garage closed and the lights on, so it's nice and toasty in here. We're gonna drill our holes and weld on our bungs. I put some speed holes in our baffle, so we'll get that tacked in place, weld these on. We have to work on the drain, and then we'll weld it together, make some mounts, and that'll be it. Can't just put a piece of aluminum as a heat sink on the backside. So I think what I'm gonna do is make a heat sink with a hole in it so that we can clamp it in place on the edge of the table. Okay guys, there she is all finished up. I went ahead and made the brackets off camera. Pretty simple, you know, just a couple brackets. So on the drain side, I got this at Home Depot for $2. I figured doesn't need a crazy metal one, and being plastic's lightweight, I went ahead and tie wired it off so it wouldn't open. But yeah, in the next video we're gonna be pulling the valve cover, and I'm gonna show you guys how to cut out the baffle, weld in the AN bungs, and put the baffle back in so that it's not shooting a bunch of oil into here. We're also gonna do hard lines. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make some hard lines to run over here. So aluminum hard lines, the baffle, stay tuned for that video. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching.